Yes, indeed. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. I am Chase Steele Gray, and I'm your host for today on Health and Wellness Wednesdays, the day we talk about our health, our wellness, our fluidity. We bring people in that can aid us in this journey by taking their little microcosm of life and augmenting it for us in the best way possible. I cannot tell you how happy I am for you to be here, especially if it's your first time here. So whoever told you to be here must really love and respect you, because that's what we do here. We come from the heart and we deal with love and respect. Today, I'm telling you, what a great conversation we have for you today. And I want to tell you about this gentleman before we start. His name is Roosevelt Standifer. He's a passionate advocate for health and fitness, serves as a certified personal trainer and community outreach coordinator with a deep-rooted commitment to fostering healthier lifestyles. Roosevelt utilizes his expertise to empower individuals to achieve their wellness goals through personalized training, programs, and engaging outreach initiatives. He not only helps clients build physical strength, but also cultivates a supportive environment for sustainable lifestyle changes. With a focus on inclusivity and accessibility, Roosevelt is dedicated to ensuring that everyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, has the opportunity to prioritize their health and well-being. You know what? Let's just get right into it. Let's just get right into it, Roosevelt, because, you know, I love having you here. The message is so amazing because we have so many new fathers entering the system, we'll call it. Yes. And it is a system and it is a lifestyle. And I first want to just give you your flowers, sir, who you are and what you do in the world, because you and I have known each other a micro minute. And I feel like I've known you my whole life. And that's what kindred spirits do. They connect immediately and we figure out how we can take our strengths and put them together to create more light and more energy in other places. So I thank you for that. Please.
Thank you.
Introduce us to this topic. Let us know what this means to you about, man, it's just so good.
Listen, first of all, Chase, I just have to say thank you. One, just because you're an advocate and you're a voice that is not only respected, but it's passionate and it's heartfelt. This journey that I'm on right now is a journey of entering into the new world. For most men, the unknown, which we call fatherhood. It is so incredible, so nervous, so exciting, so all of these emotions and feelings that you will have, whether it be angry, hurt, just uncertainties. And for most men, the uncertainties is the fear itself that really paralyzes most people. However, there is good news today, Chase. The good news is that I have dove into this and I've entered into this world giving up of myself. And that's what most men have to do. That's the beginning of it. To start off by, one, giving up of yourself, your ambitions, your way. And I think, really understanding what it really means to be a father. It means to, one, realize that now there are other people that depend on you.
Oh, the D word. You hit the D word. Depend.
It is. It's almost. It's one of those things that's kind of, for most of our lives, we actually live to be independent. But this takes us into a whole nother arena where now you are actually depended upon, and that brings another certain level of fear, of uncertainties, and now you got to get yourself together. I mean, and quickly, because you only have 9 months to really do this. So I think the first place that we start with this is just to really understand what it takes to have a healthy fatherhood journey, and really it starts with your significant other, supporting your partner. And I think that's the first part of anything is you have to be able to support your team members, your spouse, your business partner, your employer, employees. I mean, whatever the relationship that you have, it's bigger than just having a baby, because coming together, there's always something that's created. In my case, as a father, it's a beautiful bundle of love. You know, my baby boy, which happens to be Roosevelt Standifer the third, we call him Trey as
Roosevelt
a
Standifer.
nickname. As a
Nice.
nickname, he's the third. And so he will continue on the legacy that I stop, he begins, and he finishes, you know, what I couldn't. But I think there's two best ways to really jump into this. One, supporting your partner shows up and looks like, you know, different things depending on your partner, and you know ultimately what your partner needs. I think the first thing is just showing up. Okay, it's huge. Attending the doctor's appointments. I mean,
Yeah.
going to the doctor's visits, as many as they were, going to every single one, being engaged, asking questions,
Right.
because your significant other needs to see you being engaged in this process. And then the second part of that, for me as a father, which I didn't really know about this, but creating a birth plan. You know,
Mm.
a birth plan is bigger than just, hey, an outline of preferences for labor and delivery, discussing, you know, with your healthcare providers, to ensure that everyone's on the same page.
Right.
This birth plan should take your son or daughter all the way into their everyday physical life,
Right.
you
Right.
know, meaning it goes beyond just the actual birth itself. But this is two ways that I think everyone needs to show up. Just, you know, making sure you're making those visits as a father, supporting your significant other by doing that, and then getting involved in things that you might not really know about, like a birth plan. I didn't know. I was clueless, Chase. I was really
Well,
clueless.
that's the cusp of this. What do you do? Is there a book? Yes, there are books, but everybody's situation is different. So how do you know? And then for you personally, the question I'd like to ask you is, you know, those 9 months, did you feel like you needed to do something physically to yourself? Do you feel
Mm-hmm.
like you ate differently? Did you do things that were preparing for the child that were outside the box that you've never done before, like on actual, you know, tangible items that you started looking at and picking up? Like, what was that whole thing like?
Let me be transparent.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I ate horribly. 9 months of getting your significant other whatever she wants, whenever she wants. I mean,
Right.
in the middle of the night.
Anything. Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Anything. And because of that, there's so many other sacrifices that you're having to make because you're doing everything. I mean, you're trying to support her. You're trying to make sure she's comfortable. You're trying to make sure she gets to appointments. You're trying to make sure, and it is so demanding.
Right.
You physically need a way of escape yourself. You need a vacation,
Right. Right. Are you
and you
running,
can't get it.
walking, swimming, jumping, trampolining? What are you doing?
So the good thing for me is, of course, I'm a personal trainer, so I'm working with clients, and within that working with clients, I'm also trying to work out with clients.
I was going to
So
say
for
that. Yeah.
me, that was a go-to. That was a
Awesome.
go-to.
Mm-hmm.
So that really helped me. But then apart from that, I had to make some time to myself. In fact, I scheduled other appointments just for myself. That was the key to my success.
Excellent. Excellent.
So in that time, I did two things. I actually got extremely great workouts because I was able to kind of unwind through the gym, going to a gym, and then also going to massage therapy, going to
Ah,
chiropractic therapy.
yes.
And
Yes.
that was my time that I could get away and decompress. It was
Nice.
just, it
Nice.
was my vacations. And so that's really what I'm talking about. You don't necessarily have to drive, you know, 5 hours or go to the beach or go to the mountains, which you can.
You can.
But
You can. You, you know, everything goes back to books to me. We can talk about anything, and I'll be right back at the book.
yeah,
The question is, was there a book that you read during this time? It didn't even have to do with childbirth or whatever, but was there something that helped you through this time? Any at all?
Yes, there is a wonderful book that I read. In fact, I'm gonna let me see. Oh, there's two books. One right here on my table, and it's one that I recommend.
Okay, let me get my book out because I
Let
will
me
write it down.
see. There's okay, so I'm actually gonna get this book because this is too good for me not to get.
Okay. La la. La da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Okay, so here's the two books.
Okay. All right.
One,
Your pregnancy, week by week. Well, that couldn't be too much easier.
now listen, I didn't want this book, but she did.
I didn't want this book. Who book is this?
So
That's
the good thing
hilarious.
about that is I got the book and I started going through it. And guess what? I was fascinated by because it was so helpful. It told me things about my, 6 weeks in, the size of my baby boy, what he would actually be going through, and then things that I could actually do with mama
Wow.
so that I could actually help her have a better pregnancy. Even though I didn't want to read this book,
Right.
but she did, so I did, and it actually really helped in just a small, significant way.
Excellent.
The other
Excellent.
book that I got was
Oops.
it's very important.
Louisiana music.
Louisiana music. Now, let me tell you the epiphany of this.
Okay.
One of my best friends, BJ Toops, which you just spent time with
Just
him.
saw him. Oh my gosh.
In New York. Listen, his family are just crazy about Zydeco and that.
Zydeco is unbelievable.
Oh my God. I can't even explain it. But I was just looking at this book and I said, you know what? I'm going to look into it because it kind of goes into the history of Louisiana music and what was why it was so prevalent in those times and days.
Right.
It was just something of interest. And so it was just something that I could actually read up on to take my mind away from the everyday changing of diapers, doing the things that I have to do with, getting prepared, getting the diapers, getting prepared for the formula, learning about what I need to know through the third trimester, the second trimester. And so now, that's where we're at, reading things that you just are intrigued by.
So I'm going to ask you two quick questions that came to my head as you were talking. The first one is, what was the most challenging thing that you've endured during the stages where your son was not here yet in front of you? The thing that comes up right in your head when I said that.
I think the most challenging thing was keeping your significant other's mental mind
at ease. I feel that. And the second question is, could you sit down for a couple of weeks and recount your journey as a new father into a booklet that you feel would help others?
Yes.
You could do that.
I absolutely could. In fact, I was thinking about something very similar to doing that, just to recount the steps that I went through.
And you realize you could just dictate that. And it could come out in words. You don't even have to write it. You could sit down and go blah, 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 every day for 20 minutes. And in a month, you'll have a book. Isn't that amazing?
I love it. it.
I just say that because I see you as the kind of person that always wants to help and always wants to reach out. And certain men need certain voices to move forward. Every man doesn't hear every other man, right? That's why when I do my podcast, people hear me, and that's why they're on the podcast. They hear my voice. I don't have any control of that. If it happens, it happens. And when you were talking about your wife and keeping her mental state, there was no. You did whatever she wanted to do, right?
Absolutely.
And it reminds me of a quote that is in the back of the Waldorf Astoria. I've performed there many times. It was closed for renovation, but I used to perform there in the grand ballroom all the time. And when you walk into the kitchen, there's a quote on the wall. And the quote says, "The difficult may take a few minutes. sorry, the difficult will get it right now. The impossible will take a few minutes. And I was like,
Wow.
wow, I like that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's profound.
Because that's what you're dealing with. You're like, man, I'm
Yes.
sure she said one or two things and you were like, mm,
Yeah.
baby, it's 2 a.m. Dang. All right, I'll be right back. And you made it happen, whatever that is, right?
Absolutely.
So I look at this and I kind of compare it to everyday relationships. Take the kid away from it.
Yes.
I'm sure you've learned something in this time that has to have helped your relationship. It had to have.
Yes.
You know
yes.
what I mean? Like a new level of patience. Listen, I intend to be a father one day. I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm happy about it already. I don't even know who I'm having a kid with.
I'm
happy. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm having a kid. Oh dang. Wait a minute. So, you know, fatherhood is very near and dear to me. And what you were talking about before, this is what I was going to ask you. You know, a lot of people seem to not pay attention to whatever activities, actions, words are happening from 0 to 6. Yes. And when I did my research, I'm like, oh my goodness. From 0 to 8 is when the kid learns things, when the paradigms, everything. And I thought about what I remember from that time. Yes. I have 2 fathers, biological father and my bonus father. They're both military men. They taught me some incredible stuff. And I remember now that it happened. That's why I say to you, now your whole thing is like, oh, shoot, I'm creating a paradigm. Oh, my God. Like this guy's looking at me going, oh, daddy just kissed mommy. Oh, look at that. He's cooking. Oh, look at that. He's cleaning that table up. Like looking at stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
That's really crazy important to me, you know? And I respect that because I know you do that. I can feel it. I can tell, you know, people go, oh, they just kids. They don't know. Yes, they do.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, they can't talk to you about it,
but that child is an actual data center.
Yes.
It's an AI data center. He's collecting all of this.
Right.
And you're putting into him an algorithm that will propel him for the rest of his life and the lives that he touches. That's how impactful this is.
I know. It just gives me tingles. I just think it's amazing. I want to make sure that if anyone has a question for you, let's get it out now because we could talk for an hour easily. Does anyone have anything they want to chime in with? Please do.
Grand Rising, Roosevelt, thank you so much for being so transparent because it's take a man to be that transparent. Thank you very much. One of my questions is that did you and your significant other or your wife have planned to lactate?
Oh, that's a great question. Great question. So we actually did plan to lactate. And in fact, it was a part of that process in communicating to say, hey, what's your preference? You know, do you want to breastfeed? Do you want to, you know, all of the questions that you need to really go through, we went through. And that book was a great way to actually prepare us for that. But one of the things that we discovered, she had a very complicated pregnancy. And through the ordeal that she went through, we had an emergency C-section. And through the whole ordeal, sharing this, she had so many other things that she was dealing with after that, that it was even very difficult for her to actually to lactate and breastfeed. It was a very tough ordeal for her. Wow. And so in doing that, we had to go an alternative route, even though we wanted to. But she was in so much other pain from just the whole ordeal that we had to be sensitive to her health. And that was just a real conversation that we had to have. And we had other people to chime in, the doctors, nurses, family and friends. And they said, hey, look, you know, it's okay. You know, we know your heart's there to do that, but, you know, that's the reason why they make formula and other things to actually help the baby. So So that's one of the things we did prepare and plan. However, in this world that we're entering into as fatherhood or motherhood, you have to also be flexible.
Good answer. Good answer. Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Whew. Anyone else?
Yeah, guys, great conversation.
The MC's in the house.
Oh, look
And
at
I
that
brought
little
baby
Standifer.
boy.
Oh my
I
God.
brought baby
Yeah.
boy in.
Oh,
So
Wow.
there he is. Oh, what a joy. Okay,
Very
so
tingly.
back on task, on task. So this is really a conversation about resiliency and being resilient,
yeah.
right? Because you were people. There are three keys to resiliency: people, peace, and purpose.
Oh, I got to get
And
that.
you found a way to be the people for her,
Yes.
right? But you also found ways to step away and find peace for yourself to be resilient. And then finally, you had a purpose, an overriding purpose, a passion for this new life that y'all were creating together. So thank you for this story of resiliency.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
Wow. People, peace, and purpose. I wrote that down
I did.
immediately. Wow. Look at that little guy. Wow. Okay, I gotta go make a baby. I'll see y'all later. Thank you so much. No, I just kidding. I just kidding. I just kidding. Well, this show is over. Wow. And see that paralyzes me. Like when I look at that, I don't even. I'm like, we're on the show. Wow. I'm just like, that's how I know I got to get that done. Anyway, so man, it's such a beautiful story, and it's such a beautiful thing to see you with your son. And you know what's so interesting? People who have been born in the last, what do we want to call it, 20 years, 30 years, they get to watch every step of their life. This is on a recording. You could be like, this is the day you were on the show with me. And I love that about life. You can see the trajectory on video. It's incredible to me. This is when you were one. This is when you were two. This is when you were three. It's that baseball game. And you can see everything. We can't see our whole thing. We only have snippets of what happened, and we're obviously grateful for that. But man, there's a quote that says something, if it's worth living, it's worth documenting, or something like that. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Like, what can we teach from this moment, watching you with your newborn, watching the calmness in your eyes and the happiness? How can we I'm taking it into my day. I'm definitely taking it to my day. As I connect with people, I'm going to see your face and be like, wow, Roosevelt with that little kid.
I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I've learned since having him is there's so many things that we get riled up or, just worked up over. But what you realize when you look this kid in his eyes or her eyes, and you really understand what this life is all about, it's right there in that connection that you have with them at that moment, because nothing is more important than connection. And this is what this is what your podcast is about, connecting.
This was all about.
It's what it's all about, connecting and being able to see how you connect with your son or daughter. It's nothing more important. In fact, every day that I go out, work, do whatever I do, I'm thinking about him and can't wait to get back connected.
Can't wait to get back. And that's the lesson too. When you look at him right there on that screen, when I see him, it reminds us that everything started from peace. Everything. When you come into the world and you see the people for the first time, you don't know how to get angry. You don't know how to be racist. You don't know you don't know any of that. That's all learned.
Yes.
And I don't understand sometimes why people don't get that. Like, you learn that from somewhere. Like, what's going on? Look at a baby. A baby will touch something, roll on something, eat something. They don't know anything. They're like, oh, this is amazing. I learned all of this. And then later they go, ooh, the fire is hot. It only takes one time.
One time.
One time. Right? So these are very powerful lessons. And Man, I'm emotional just looking at you with your kid, bro. I
Oh.
just, whoo, man.
It's
I gotta go
everything.
have a good breakfast after this because it makes me tingly. It makes me tingly. It really does. I'm being honest with you. And so, is there anything you'd like to say, or did I miss anyone? Does anyone else have a comment? I'm sorry, I didn't. I came off the screen. Okay. So, what would you like to wrap us up with today? Like a kind of a culmination thought, or something you would like to leave us with today?
I think the combination thought is this: is expect in every interaction, in every person that you come in touch with, that they are just like this fragile baby, and they need you to pour in, to input, to inspire, to love, to nurture, support, all of the things that we were designed and created to do.
Right.
Every interaction deserves that.
Woo. What a morning.
Yeah.
What a morning. Well, trying to pull it together. Pull it together. Pull it together.
I love Chase.
Okay, all right. I just need a second. I just need a second. Okay. So, our tenets before we leave. Love. We started with that. Love begins with the example of love. Live to your fullest. As I'm out here in this fresh air, looking up at the orange and green and yellow leaves and being thankful, being grateful, I'm going to do great things today, right? Move the body, move around, walk around, jump on the trampoline, ride the bike, do whatever you can to let your body know I'm here for you. Let's get this work done, right? Let's be fluid instead of stagnant and develop this atrophy that we have that creates diseases and stuff. Let's push that away, right? Give of yourself whatever you have, you know. Many years ago, there was an interview with David Letterman and Oprah, and David Letterman said, "You are Oprah Winfrey. That's incredible. How do you feel?" And she goes, "Like Oprah. I don't know how. I should just feel like me. But you can give so much. You build schools. You give millions." She goes, "Dave, it's not that serious. If you want to give, you give what you give. It doesn't matter that I can build a school. You can make a meal." I never forgot that. I was like, wow, do what you can do to change the life. So that's the story behind that one tenet. Give of yourself in the way that you can. You can only do what you can do. There's nothing else there but that, right? And sleep as much as you possibly can, because that is important in a way that you can't even fathom. When you get more sleep, it happens to me all the time. I feel completely different. The trick is the mind being calm. We can go to sleep with an active mind and get no sleep. So meditation and the calmness of that is very, very, very important. Also, eat mostly plant-based. If you can, give it a shot. Those people will say, "I'm not eating plant-based. I love meat." Okay, great. No problem. A couple days a week, give the plant-based a try. Do it half a day. Just delve into it a little bit to see if it may change you from the inside out, and set an example also for children. Back to Roosevelt, people who begin with children who eat a certain way tend to have children that live their life that way going forward. It's the same thing. Tend. It's not 100% rule. And also, stress less, my good people, because stress is what takes us down the road of almost all diseases. If you do the math and the research, stress is the highest culprit of creating disease. It creates all sorts of things, even the C word that I don't want to say because I hear it too much. And lastly, please check yourself before you wreck yourself. It is so important to take a breath and ask yourself, where am I right now? Is this where I want to be? How can I change this moment? It's been a pleasure, my good friend. R to the S, D to the J.
You got
Trey,
it.
right there. I would love to give a special shout out to your wife. Please tell her that we appreciate her creating such a beautiful being as well. And I look forward to meeting her when I come to Atlanta. Because I'm coming to see you, brother.
You better.
Trey.
Uncle Chase.
Uncle Chase. Uncle Chase. Was that her? What's her name?
Yeah, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. Nice to see you. hear you.
Thank you. You can be the babysitter.
She's washing bottles.
All right.
Baby bottles.
Give me your accolades. Do what you got to do. I don't want to take you away. So
I'll have DJ hire you as a babysitter. He pays $1,000.
Oh, you don't want me to watch the baby because I'll be like, go away a few more days. I'm good. I'm good.
You don't want to change diapers?
I love babies. Don't put me near a baby. You'll see a whole different me. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Have a spectacular day. Please join us during the week. Each and every day we have a different topic with a different host. It is absolutely magical. I promise you, you will leave differently than you arrive every day of the week on the Daily Huddle. This is Chase Steele Gray. I'm out.
One love, guys. One love.
One love.
Great conversation, guys. Thank you for sharing.